control the high ground early on. In this one, it's going to be tricky to stop the opposing team from doing that. And yeah, it looks like it's going to be Envy defending first of all, and then Splyce are going to be on the offensive.
Really interesting to see which way they're going to go with this one. And it looks like Envy, they are just going straight for it, right? The current meta, it seems, which is to go tank heavy and then have the Ana backing them up. So Tailspin on the Mei, Coco on the Zarya.
Well, it's worse actually than the desk is introducing, because they were introducing the 3-3 metagame, and already here we've got the 4-2-1 instead. We've got Ana and obviously yeah, Lucio playing there, and then we've got the 4 tanks basically playing. Mei helping out a little bit, which is exceptional. I love that.
Which is on the offense, right? Like that's going to be Splyce's game basically. Splyce are just they're going to try. They obviously know that there's going to be this choke point, this high ground advantage, right? That EnVyUs are going to be trying to look for. EnVyUs, the goal for them is to try and get Splyce to wrap. Either pick your poison, right? You got to either wrap around on the side towards the balconies or come up the main road, because otherwise you're running right into the tanks. Splyce though, they're like, great, we got tanks, 4 of them. So how are you going to deal with it, Envy? Because Ana, if you do any damage to us, Ana's going to be getting her ultimate that much faster. And so it's a bit of a trick now for Envy to be able to just try and keep Splyce at bay.
It's a lot of HP on the map right now. It could be a while before they actually get anybody killed. What a great wall being put up there by Tailspin, zoning out the enemy team coming in, and now he's trying for with the ice gun, but not quite making it work. Taimu going to pick up the first kill on Sickness, and now we're off to the races here. Second kill coming in, and Splyce not making a lot of progress right now, losing players left and right, and this push is going to be entirely destroyed. Sugar even doing a pretty good job at the end. They're actually not killing him too fast. If you can, you'd much rather just sort of stagger the enemy respawn a little bit, make sure you keep him alive at the end. So no luck at all for Splyce in the first push.
No, this is that was just beautiful work from Tailspin. He hit that timing perfectly. Splyce maybe feeling a little bit of the nerves there, tried to push in, tried to really take the fight to Envy. Tailspin's like, great, I'm going to cut your team in half. Your Ana's on the wrong side of that wall. She's not getting energy by trying to heal up these tanks. Instead, my team are just going to completely collapse and collapse rather onto the offense. And so EnVyUs, that was a perfect hold from them. And Chips, he's got the ult already.
A look at Splyce. They actually swap out characters almost immediately here. The hero's already out. We've got McCree now playing. We've got Sickness on the Diva as well. So already there's a big change after just one push. They squash that and they want to move on and see if they can make it happen here. It's really good. Ana ult already coming in there into the hole, charging through and dropping here. So he's wrecking them. It's going to be a triple kill. All of them going down. And Splyce, that's 0 for 2 right now.
And that's where it's so difficult about dealing with this kind of push, is that you have to get that sleep. You have to get some form of CC, and teams are still trying to figure out how to actually lock down that boosted character, right? That hero, when he's charged up and running at your face, he takes less damage, he deals more damage, he moves faster. He just turns into a juggernaut, to steal the word from ZP there. So, I mean, now it's going to be Splyce's turn to get into the action. They'll have their juggernaut, and we'll see how they use him.
Already in there, Shane, he has got the Earth Shatter. We'll see if he can make it work, but he's actually going to be going down. That's such a shame. Now, how do they push without that? It's such a huge ultimate here in Overwatch. You need that to pretty much set up a nice team fight. And, I mean, again, it seems like every time Splyce lose a fight, they swap out somebody else. Now, Sugar's playing on the Genji instead, which I really like just from watching the previous matches. He seems to be quite good at playing the DPS. I thought maybe even he would try and go for like an early Reaper or something, but he's actually started out on Winston, which is a little bit funny even.
Now they're trying to go back to what's an old tried and true, right? Get that 2-2-2 going. And so, I mean, we have to see. He's got his ultimate now. We could get that boost going on him. Pure, he's got his nano boost ready, and we're waiting to see where the ults are going to come out here, because Splyce are just pushing into the blender.
Sickness very low as well. He's going to be out of it any second now. Only one kill happening right now in favor of Splyce, and that's Zarya going down on Coco there. But right now, I mean, we were warned. Our analysts did say this could well be what's in store right here. Envy looking incredibly on point here. We're only talking about the first point. They haven't even got the payload started on this hybrid map here. So just a really tough way to get started if you are Splyce.
Exactly, and now, I mean, Pure, they did actually get the advantage in ults for a moment, but then obviously you gain energy over time without having to deal any damage or get any heals, right? And so Taimu, he's got his ult now. Internet Hulk on the Winston, he has his as well. And so there's a lot, it's fairly balanced now, and there just isn't enough time. 20 seconds left for Splyce to make the push and try and get control of this point.
The one thing is that Zarya on Envy he doesn't have the Graviton Surge, so he can. They could take a fight right now where Shane has the Earth Shatter, and they don't have much to counter it with, and that would obviously be incredible. Sickness jumping out there, activating the ultimate, but all of Envy just scattering, not even getting hit by it. And you're right, we're almost at the last stage here. It seems like maybe Splyce are going to get shot down without taking any points. Taimu picking up 2 big kills, and Tailspin and Instant Hulk, they are going to be going down. So a little bit working up, but Taimu doing even more damage, and Splyce now they're in overtime, trying to see if they can stay alive right here. And it's going to be really rough. The respawns are coming in as well, and Saria with the damage as well. There's almost no chance. Trying to activate the overtime again. Sickness the only one trying to stay alive and just buy more time, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen at all. What a performance from Envy early on. He's actually going to be able to resuit again. It's pretty incredible. He's staying alive for a very, very long time here. The Sickness eventually will go down, and that's going to be the end of the first round here. Just already out of it.
Yeah, just what fantastic positioning. I mean, it's at the start, really, where Envy, they're keeping close to the doors. They're immediately able to drop out as soon as the D.Va ult comes in. I mean, that's a massive AoE damage. That's why you're looking to try and break the line of sight. You want to get around a corner, hide from it. And Envy, not a single one caught out in the open, and I think that was the turning point. Because at that point, you basically, you collapse back on, and you start picking Splyce apart. Obviously, Splyce, yeah, you commented on it, right? D.Va, she was doing a fantastic job of staying alive. That's pretty much her strong point. She's excellent at stalling things out, but you kind of need the rest of your teammates to survive as well and actually do some damage.
Yeah, I'm shocked that Shane couldn't get one of the good Earth Shatters down. I feel like that would have set them up so nicely, but maybe we should give some credit to Envy instead. They were never really positionally in a place where they could easily get Earth Shattered. They weren't going to be, he wasn't going to get like 4 or 5 people with that Earth Shatter. And because they kept lacking their own sort of Saria ultimate, they were just in a really rough spot pretty much all throughout.
For some reason, I just had this image of EnVyUs as like a school of fish, right? And Splyce, they're desperately thrashing around, trying to get, trying to get a mouthful, right, of that school of fish. And EnVyUs, man, they're just swarming around them perfectly, regroup when they need to, but split up when the D.Va comes in, for example. I mean, not a problem for Envy. They're just so on point. And so now, now obviously things are going to flip. It's going to be Splyce's turn to try and defend this point, and we'll see just what EnVyUs are capable of. Curious to see if Tailspin is going to stick on that far.
Something I love here is actually Harry Hook picking up the Mercy already, because that's going to be interesting. This is definitely the first point here. Think about how much he can hide behind and just come out with a revive, and one good revive, and that's pretty much going to be it. And then we've got Tailspin as well on the DPS, so we do have a 3-2-1 setup for Envy, and Splyce has sort of reset themselves into the 4-2. And it's going to be a little bit interesting. 4 tanks, essentially, and then the 2 supports here on Ninja Nick and Pure. Envy, they just need one good fight, and this is going to be done with the first map.
Interesting decision. Splyce taking up a different defensive position than EnVyUs did in their defense. They're holding on the other balcony across from the other side of the site, and so we'll see if EnVyUs are going to be allowed to get in here and try and put up a fight for that high ground. We're following Tailspin right now. He's looking to try and get that flank going. And he does have a couple of teammates backing him up. But this is all about timing now, and there we go. There's the info, and immediately Tailspin tries to knock them off the balcony, but it's not going to work.
You see how well he reads that. He knows they're going to try and get that high ground advantage. We know it's so important in Overwatch. He actually pre-fired that grenade just to get there. Now they're going to go for the fight here. They're taking a little bit of damage, using the concussive blast to get away from the wall and just back up from that lightning gun on the Winston on the other side. Tailspin really trying to land these shots, but actually hitting, or missing, sorry, quite a few of them. They are still going to get a bunch of kills in here. Sickness and Shane already down. That's 2 big heroes that are not going to have a chance to get their ults off, and Pure also going down. This is not looking good. Envy just staying alive, and Tailspin wreaking havoc. He's 7% away from getting the ult. There's the ult, and that's really going to be it. There's nothing they can do. They're trying to get back in, but running right into the ultimate. Tailspin, an absolute monster.
Yeah, that was so sick by Tailspin. He's just like, I don't need to go and deal with the guys on the point. I can trust in my teammates to handle the job there. Instead, I'm just going to completely cut them out at the knees. And really, now we're seeing the difference in caliber, right, of Envy, who made the grand finals of the last, event competition that was held for Overwatch, went up against Rogue. They have the experience here. They clearly have the game plan. Splyce definitely looking a little nervous.
You see, it was actually quite cool because you see Envy, I almost thought they were going to overcommit to taking the high ground. You're actually right. He tried with the concussive blast to push them all off. When that failed, they sort of went for it, and then it looked like they were going to overcommit. They were taking a lot of damage from the lightning gun on the enemy Winston, and then they actually fell back and sort of managed to stay alive and recommit into it. That's not so easy. If only half the team falls back and half of them are still fighting, if there's any miscommunication in the team there, then that fight's going to fall apart for them, and they'll lose, they probably will lose Tailspin up on the high ground early on.
It's Winston, you know, he's the guy who can actually close the gap. What, Reinhardt, you're not going to swing your hammer and, you know, try and swat Pharah out of the air. It's just not going to work, right? There wasn't that much poke to be able to deal with the Pharah, who just survived forever.
Right, and speaking of that, because they have the Mercy as well, it's sort of a return to a meta that's just a little bit earlier with the damage boosted Pharah. Those rockets are so brutal if you hit them perfectly.
Oh, we were following him at the right time. He was just hitting rocket after rocket. It's just so much damage. And so, I mean, EnVyUs, definitely, you tune in, you expect to see these guys innovate, you expect to see them just be like, right, this is the meta right now, this is what you guys are doing? Hold on, let's demonstrate how you actually crack this all open.
That one there that we just saw the replay of the nano-boosted ultimate Winston is just, what do you even do at that point? There's, I mean, it actually is a legit question. What do you do? Because fighting him is almost never an option, right? So you got to find a way to zone him out and back off and keep your teammates alive and just wait for it to sort of run down a little bit. Otherwise, you're going to be in so much trouble.
And that was the nightmare because Anna came in, she got the sleep, but she got the sleep after 3 of her teammates were dead, right? It's just a little bit too late. Justin Lutz, I am cyber waste. Okay then. And he's on Twitter talking to us here, and the Envy we know and love, treading all over the snake of Splyce. That's right. They went for the head, right? And just cut it off.
Shout out on wrong. That's definitely not wrong. And apparently King's Row is going to be the second map. I think the losers get to choose the second map out of the map pool.
That's correct, yes.
I mean, one of the most popular maps in competitive Overwatch. For Korea, everyone, I feel like, knows how to play King's Row. And that's going to be rough. That's another map where you sort of need to take the first point, and then you activate the payload and try and push it on through. So very interesting. I think Splyce, I mean, what do you even take away from that in the beginning? What do you learn in that very short time when you're fighting? The one thing that I can't figure out if this is a strength or a weakness, but if you try and run a setup, remember Splyce when they were on the offensive, they started off with a 4-2, and then the very second it failed, they instantly swapped out and tried something else. Now, that could be a sign of, you know, being a very dynamic team. You're able to sort of switch out of something that isn't working if they identified that it's not working, but it could also be just, you know, chaos, right? It could be too much. It could be at a point in time where you say, well, you didn't even give it a chance, you know.
I think it could also be a question of just confidence, right? I mean, Clockwork on your screen right now, he was talking about the fact that they had a difficult time coming into this tournament, actually getting proper practice done, roster changes, all sorts. So they haven't really had the time to fine-tune their machine the way that EnVy have, right? Yeah. 2 weeks of preparation for EnVy coming into this tournament. They're going to know what they're comfortable with, what strats work, whereas Splyce, you're right to point it out. If something doesn't work, like, why is it not working? Okay, hold on, let's go back to something that may work, right? Or something that's bread and butter. And so it's that kind of hesitation that's actually going to cost Splyce in the long term.
Yeah, and like we sort of had the interviews going in from Malik, right? And it did definitely seem like they were, I mean, maybe lacked a little bit of focus. Some of their players, you know, having full-time jobs next to it. And that's going to be rough, I think, in Overwatch, especially going forward. You know, if you look into sort of a year into the future, right? Having the ability to have an in-game leader who can make a really quick call and say, this is exactly why we're losing. Like, this one swap will win us the next team fight. But if it's just an individual call where someone says, I'm not feeling too well playing this hero right now, I'm going to try and swap out and play something else instead, then there's no team, there's no plan, you know, there's no overarching plan. And I feel like you need that. Another thing that you brought up, actually, which I just want to reiterate, is this idea that even when they were losing the fights, you can kind of justify losing the fight if you at least come out with the ult advantage, right? If you say, well, we're setting ourselves up for the next fight, because next time we will have 4 or 5 ults, they will only have 2, so we're probably going to do it. That Splyce didn't even manage that, and that's going to be rough, real rough for them.
That was the point, actually, where it was like, okay, going into the push at 40 seconds, oh, well, they have 3 ults, EnVy have 2, and then, unfortunately, they were high enough, EnVy, to be able to just match things up, and from there on out, it was definitely, one side. I mean, the fun thing is, it's just Overwatch, right? The scene and how quickly it's growing. It is interesting to see. You know, we're so used to with it in other scenes where pros, right? They're salaried. It's their full-time occupation. They train all day, right? You know, and it's just showing that Overwatch has a little bit of catching up to do in the sense that, you know, some of the players are still working part-time. You know, they've only been pro or semi-pro for just a few months now, and so it's going to be great. I mean, really exciting times, right? We're at the very beginning here, and we're going to be able to just follow all of these stories as they develop.
I'm going to put you on the spot, Summer. What's your favorite hero in this game, you know? This is one of those questions where you could get in real trouble, you know?
No, not at all. I mean, right now, because I'm solo queuing, bro. Like, I did it in CS.
Why are you doing that?
I'm like, I did it in CS. I did it in CS. If I could do it in CS, I could do it in Overwatch.
All right.
The problem is that it's actually physically painful. And so I think I've just kind of cringed back, and I'm like, okay, I'll play Tracer. Because at least Tracer, you can have an impact.
Yeah.
And you can semi-carry with Tracer if you play it well enough, right? And so I'm going to Tracer right now. So Tracer's my favorite.
That's fair enough. I think that's a safe pick. I think most people won't grill you too badly for that. You're right. No. You can have a big sort of individual impact with that one.
Tracer's just the most fun because if you can get in there, I mean, you're harassing the back line, and if your teammates are right aware enough, you know, if you're keeping the back line busy, they should be able to take advantage of the front line, get an advantage there. Sometimes it doesn't work, but I've had a lot of fun playing Tracer, so she's my go-to right now.
All right. I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
What about you, Anders? Well, I mean, Anders, I know what your favorite hero is.
It's changed a little bit, actually.
It's only natural, right? I'm French. She's French. You know, I can see how it works out in your mind, right? A subconscious.
Yeah, I should say Widowmaker, but just you know, to protect myself, I'm not going to do that because I know people are going to tweet and complain about it. Actually, from watching the game, I really like watching Mei. I think Mei's mechanics are so much fun. You saw the first ice wall that went up early on. I can't remember if it was time with Tailspin, but the first wall that went up, the very first push that they just shown them out. They almost practically lost the fight in that one ice wall, and that's so cool. Now we're gonna head into King's Row, and as our second map with Envy already winning the first one. If you are just joining us, then a big welcome here to the Overwatch Open. We are in Atlanta. And this is already a bit of a one-sided match, as both Chris and Andrew were predicting.
Yeah, that's the main thing. I mean, there's no reason to beat around the bush in this sort of scenario. EnVyUs, they have so much experience. They've definitely been a dominant force for quite some time in the competitive Overwatch scene. Splyce, they're still up and coming. You know, they're clearly the underdog in this match. And so EnVyUs, they handily took the first map, and so we go into this second. This is a best of 3 as well, just to be clear. And so Envy, they only needed one map win to progress further into the tournament, whereas Splyce, I mean, they just have to battle tooth and nail here to stop from dropping down into that loser match.
I'm excited. Tailspin actually has picked up the Widowmaker early on. And since they are on the offense, this is so easy for him to do as well, because all he has to do is he can land like 1 or 2 shots, and if it's not working out, he can just easily swap out in the spawn, right? He can just take that shot and swap it right back. So that's not even a risk. Taimu also on the Hanzo, it's not impossible that he will just put out the Sonic Arrow and then swap out immediately afterwards to something else. I am happy, though, that that Splyce are running the 3-3 that we've been talking about. It feels like it's planned, you know. We introduced this, the so-called NIP metagame, and that's exactly what they're doing on the Splyce side, so we're going to be off in 5 seconds.
I mean, it's just about having HP, having health points, right? You want to defend the point, you want to be as difficult to kill as possible, and so that's the whole goal here, is to try and set that up, and we'll see if Splyce can manage it. EnVyUs, they do have Tailspin on the Tracer, so she's going to be looking to find that flank angle. And in the meantime, it is just going to be a straight-up push off the high ground, straight over the wall, avoiding the choke, and right onto the point. Coco's not wasting any time at all.
Oh, he's going to go for the charge, but didn't catch anyone, so now he's sort of behind enemy lines, has to get back, help out his teammates a little bit. Envy fighting for it, and no one has gone down yet. I don't know how Coco's still alive. It feels like he should have been shot in the back at least a couple of times. There's the hook coming in, and he's very low on health. Ends up going down. Tailspin actually is the one going down on Tracer, but he does have his ult, so when he's back in the fight, it's going to be interesting. Into that ult, back in it, and a nice hook from Clockwork. It looks like Splyce are actually defending, and they're building a lot of ult already.
Yeah, no, that barrier coming out from, I mean, you can see some sick play coming out here from Internet Hulk. I mean, he's just like, right, go in, Coco, because I've got barriers for you all day long. And so he's just, I mean, it's that relationship with Zarya, all of her forward dive-heavy kind of characters, or heroes that she's going to be backing up. She's going to be there with that barrier. It's going to be very difficult. But look at this. There's the boost, and already Taimu just charging in, and he's just doing so much damage. Clockwork gone in the blink of an eye, and he's looking for Genji. Not Genji. Zenyatta, obviously.
Well, look at that. I mean, Taimu, nano boosted Reaper. It's got to make actually aiming a little bit more difficult, but when you have players like Taimu and also Tailspin on this team, you know they're going to be able to do it. That's incredibly brutal. Takes them out pretty much instantaneously. So Splyce holding off for like half a push, and then they just can't keep it now. We'll see what they could do here in the street section of the map. They got to try and slow down that payload as much as they can.
They are getting close to ultimates on Ninja Nick, for example. He's up to 90% now. Clockwork is going to have Whole Hog pretty soon here as well, and Sickness with the Zarya ults. I mean, yeah, we're going to have a bunch of ults here for Splyce. They're going to be looking to take advantage of this because EnVyUs did have to use a few ults, obviously, to crack onto that point. And so we'll see. Internet Hulk, he's got the Graviton ready, and we'll see if he decides to use it. Nice dodge there, using the angle to avoid the Earth Shatter, and this is all about dealing damage, and he gets the kill on Shane.
Building that charge, look at that, up to 90% practically, so he's dishing out a lot of damage. Hasn't used his ult yet, and in fact, they're losing 3 players and more falling on Splyce right now. EnVyUs, they just cannot be stopped. Their positional play is just so good. You're right, they're using the map architecture there to just make sure they're dodging as many of Splyce's abilities as possible. And Taimu, he's got something dreadful in mind here. He's ready to bring the pain right onto Splyce on that high ground.
He's looking to punish it, right? Because Splyce are looking to take a fight as early as possible so that they can get back here to challenge the point, and there we go. This is all about it. Taimu, he gets dodged. It's Tailspin instead picking up 2 kills, with Coco picking up 1 on Shane. But that was a good read on Splyce's part. They saw Taimu coming from a mile away, but still, it's not going to change anything. EnVyUs are just powering forward here. There's no stopping Tailspin.
It's not only the surprise factor of being on the high ground and that sort of forward up, it's obviously the combination with the Graviton Surge from Internet Hulk that just sets that fight up so incredibly well. I don't know what Splyce could have done to stop that. So now Envy just charging through the map. They're going to set an incredible time here on King's Row. Nice Earth Shatter coming out and then following up with the Nano Boost, the hammer just going in on them. Splyce, they just can't keep 6 people alive for more than a couple of seconds at a time.
No, it's just too much damage coming out from EnVyUs. And EnVyUs, they're just sticking together as this unit. So you take advantage of the barrier that's put up by Reinhardt. He's got his shield wall going, and then that sets it up for Taimu on the Reaper to go for the backstab. And this is just looking clean cut here for EnVyUs. They're just indomitable at this point, pushing forward.
There's no end to this now. I mean, it's going to be overtime hold, but not even that. There's no one left. Taimu picking up the last 3 kills with the Reaper, and Envy setting frankly a stunning time on this map. I don't know how Splyce could summon any kind of motivation to try and fight this. This is going to be so tough.
Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, it's pretty much a flawless run here for Envy, just completely and utterly destroying Splyce at every turn in every team fight. Even when Splyce had ult advantage, doesn't matter, because EnVyUs were so good about using walls to block it off, making it difficult so that you aren't able to get off that wombo combo on Splyce. You're thinking, we've got 5 ults. If we just chain them together this way, we'll wipe him out, right? No, EnVyUs are just way too quick. They never got caught off guard.
I mean, if you had to point your finger at like one point in the first fight there where maybe Splyce had, you know, something they could try and exploit, it's probably the fact that the charge is missed on the Reinhardt coming in. That makes you think, all right, now he's zoned out from the rest of his team, and also his team can't sort of hide behind the shield. But they couldn't even really sort of capitalize on that. They weren't able to bring it back even off of that. Envy, I mean, predictably so. Everyone said so. They were going to be strong, but this is something else.
Yeah, it's just no respect. And it's good of you to bring that up, right? No respect, just straight charge in. And, you know, right? Just like, I don't care. YOLO, get in there, look for the fight, and don't let Splyce find any ounce of confidence, right, to be able to take the fight back.
There's one odd thing I actually noticed, because, you know, they had Hanzo early on to just set, and Splyce have the same thing. But none of them are running a Roadhog in the beginning, and normally you'd want that, you know, the Sonic Arrow just to get a good hook in. That's so nice. You know, you got the sort of partial wall hack in, so you can easily land a hook. But what do they really have that can? I mean, obviously they could put out just some raw damage at the beginning, but that Sonic Arrow, I don't think it's gonna help them too much. But it's kind of worth doing anyway. You know, it's just to point out they don't have like a big follow-up behind it.
No, they exactly that kind of combo play where you're playing off of each other's abilities. But Splyce on the defense, well, no, on the offense, my mistake. It's going to be EnVyUs on the defense now. And Tailspin, once again, going for the Mei. And he was so good at hitting those walls, at really cutting up the offense. Splyce trying to push in. That Mei timing with the wall is going to be so difficult for them to deal with. And they're just trying to wrap it, looks like. They're just going to try and dodge the choke points and see if they can get control of the high ground the same way that EnVyUs did when they were on the offense to begin with.
Shrugger going to be playing on the Reaper. I quite like that. I hope he has some good opportunities here. They got to set him up nicely for it. They're taking the high ground through the apartment there and coming out, and I really love that play. That's actually very intelligent, and Shrugger coming in for it. He's hitting these shots, but he's going to get slept, and now ends up going down. Harry Hook with the kill as well, and if they can't defend this early on here, and then I mean, they're going to be in a decent position, Splyce, if they can take this cap very, very quickly. Sickness dishing out damage, but he's going to end up going down, and Envy only losing Coco so far.
This is just deathmatch at this point, man. They're all split up. They're all just looking for duels. EnVyUs doing a good job of playing off of each other. Chip saying with the key sleep there, you're right, to shut down that Reaper that was trying to charge him. And from there on out, it just it's just EnVyUs setting up positions where they're fighting 2v3 or 3v2, right? Or they have the man advantage.
You gotta appreciate Splyce taking the apartments way in, because if they can guess, if they've already sort of realized that Tailspin is going to be playing on the Mei, then if they run in through the main entrance, that wall is going to go up again to zone them out. So it's actually quite smart that they try and dodge it, and looks like they're doing the exact same thing. Taimu coming through again, nano boosted, but a counter nano boost coming out, and then the ult coming through. Taimu actually not doing that much damage, having the wall block them up, and Shane getting 2 good kills in. Taimu having a chance to reload and doing a little bit more. Splyce, just 3 people left alive right now. Envy, they only have Taimu and Internet Hulk here to try and see if they can push through. It's not happening.
It's not actually going to be, they might actually pull this off, Splyce. Are we going to get a point cap here for them? Can EnVyUs get back in time? And it doesn't look like it. EnVyUs are not even interested. They're going to control the choke point now and try and slow Splyce up. And really what they want to try and do here, EnVyUs, is get that fight early on. Challenge Splyce while the cart isn't too far pushed forward so that they can get a second fight if they end up resetting.
It's already taking too long, essentially, for Splyce. They're so swiftly running out of time here, but obviously they can try and see if they can just run in through Envy. If they can just hold this, but at least Splyce managed to get a point. Unlike on the first map, when we were on Numbani, they didn't make any impact at all. This time they've done a bit more.
And here we go. Here's the push coming in from EnVyUs. Leading the way, Coco. He's got his Earth Shatter ready as well, so we'll see when he decides to go for the trigger. There it is, but a great dodge coming in from Sickness. Gets the Graviton Surge down, and there's the AoE damage, just pumping it out. EnVyUs, though, they're hanging in there.
Incredible stuff coming out right now. I don't know why that Graviton Surge didn't do much. He wasn't that much charged, so he couldn't even put out a lot of damage, and Internet Hulk picking up 2 big kills. Envy fighting back, and are they going to let him escape? This is sort of a critical point. All right, the respawn is coming in behind him, but you can understand why Envy would want to try and chase him down, just make sure that Shane respawns out of sync with the rest of his team, but at least they prevented that. Now Shrugger behind here, and he's got the Death Blossom.
We'll see if he can actually create some opportunity here for his teammates. Just trying to charge in. There's the Death Blossom, and he's getting 2 kills. EnVyUs, they're getting picked off, but then the main core group is still alive, and Shrugger, is he going to be long for this world? He's trying to get back to his teammates, trying to stay alive, and it looks like he'll just barely manage it.
I like how Shrugger tried to keep up that fight against the Mei right up until the shield went up from Internet Hulk, and that was going to be the end of it. Now he's pushing through, nano boosted here, so actually it's Splyce picking up on that idea of nano boosting the Reaper and trying to see if they can make that work. They are making progress across the map, and you gotta wonder if it's in time. They're so close to being out of time, I reckon. Right now, Clockwork gonna get a kill on Coco, but still Splyce pushing in, actually doing a really good job there. May should be going down, but somehow still alive.
Oh, and he just barely dodges the high noon. But now they actually have the boost going on Taimu. He's the one doing the damage. He just needs to hit some headshots here, but he can't seem to connect on Clockwork. He will hit 1. But so far, a successful defense coming in here for EnVyUs, buying valuable time. 2 minutes, 20 seconds left on the clock here for Splyce. So they still have plenty of time to work with here, but EnVyUs, they are definitely having to work a bit harder here on the second map.
Taimu ready with the ult already, taking this fight against Tracer. 1 bullet would have done it, but it is not going to be quite enough. He ends up going down. Splyce, what is their ults like? They actually almost have 5 ults. If they can just sort of reset here and actually get everyone up and living, they will have a really big ult advantage against Envy. And so just a slight, a minuscule reset here where they get everyone on the same part and they just don't run in staggered, they should be in a good position.
They have plenty of time, right? Exactly. Take your time, get the setup, get grouped, and let Clockwork try and find some kind of flank avenue as well. If he can actually get in here to try and harass the back line, that would be pretty nice. But there's the Graviton Surge, or he's ready with it. Sickness, when's he going to actually unleash it? Because his teammate has been boosted up, and so far it's just a fair trade on both sides.
Sickness not using his ultimate yet, so still got that in the back lines here. They got 2 kills already on Envy. Harry Hook is going to be going down. Where's that ult coming in? There it is. Sickness putting in the Graviton Surge, and Shane charging through them, gets a double kill. Clockwork helping out, and that should be the end of it. They should be able to push on to the second or the final stage here. Envy just getting out ulted, and they still have 2 ults up and running here. They still have the Earth Shatter and the Death Blossom on Shrugger.
Yeah, interesting decision there by Coco to use his Earth Shatter. I mean, he was the last man alive. There wasn't a whole lot that he was going to do. I mean, is it worth it trading it for like the extra 3 seconds that it will take to push that payload in there? Still, EnVyUs. Now it's Tailspin on the far. He was doing so much damage on Numbani with this character, with the rockets. And again, there isn't really the long-range poke here on Splyce. I mean, it comes down to pure if he can hit some shots with the Ana to try and pick Tailspin off.
Gotta get into that last point here. pushing it around the corner. Got about 2 minutes. And Tailspin now up on the high ground, doing a lot of damage with those rockets, shooting some shielded targets. I'm not quite sure that's worth it. There's the Death Blossom in the background. Shrugger only picking up 1 kill behind it. That is not quite enough. And Tailspin here, almost with the ult. It's ready. Can they stop him if he puts it in? He's now targeting the supports, getting close to Ana in the background. Pure really having a hard time. He needs someone to help him out. And finally, Splyce able to do it. Sickness turning around on that Zarya and getting a good couple of kills in.
Harry trying to buy a little bit more time there, challenging on the point, but that's not going to happen. Splyce now, they've got everything going their way at this point. They even have a couple of well, no, they have one ultimate that's about to kick off here with Ninja, and Sickness has almost got the Graviton, so they can just back off by a little bit more time. They still have a minute to set this push up. In the meantime, EnVyUs, Tailspin, he's sitting on his rocket, so we'll see if he can actually make it work.
Trying to see if they can make the push through. Charge comes in, and that's an instant kill. And that was the ult gone. The sound barrier instantly destroyed. And Tailspin coming through with a massive ultimate, taking down the remaining Splyce players. And that leaves them just 55 seconds here. An absolute reckoning.
Dude, it's when you get that barrage that's just boosted by Harry Hook. You know, it's total and utter annihilation. You're not going to live through it. Tailspin just does too much damage, and now he's once again getting boosted by Harry, just chucking those rockets around the choke. Eventually, Splyce are going to have to try and push through here and try and dodge as much of this damage as possible. You have to also keep in mind, though, that this is giving a lot of energy, basically, for the Ana ult, and Pure, he's ready for it. No, he dies! They managed to get the key pick on Pure!
That's definitely going to be a big problem. Coco picking up 3 big kills, but now comes the Graviton Surge in return into the revive, and Envy just dropping Splyce once again. Look how close it is. They're almost at the point, but they only have 10 seconds left. Oh, Splyce, they're really putting up a great fight here against Envy, but it just doesn't seem to be enough.
So much interest in Pure, just dying so
God.
quickly. Tailspin again. Shrugger is gone. He's got another barrage ready and waiting, and he just unleashes it, and there's just not enough time for Splyce to get around that corner and get on the point.
I feel like it's so incredibly unfortunate that that charge, or it's really good skill on the Envy Reinhardt, but either way, the fact that it charges the just charges the sound barrier, so they can't even put it out. Lucio not getting any chance at all. That's going to be 2 maps for Envy here.
Just brutal play coming in from Envy. Pretty much what we expected to see. They're one of the favorites to make it deep in the tournament. I mean, last events tournament, they made it to the finals to play against Rogue, and here, once again, they're just looking in fine shape. And you can tell that they're just looking very crisp at this point. They've had 2 weeks of boot camp, and even at the very bitter end there, they were able to put up a very solid defense with some good team play.